What's up, everyone? It is Mr. M, and I am back, finally. If you didn't catch my last video, I've been moving, which is why I haven't uploaded in so long. I've been moving for the last month. The landlord on the last place gave us a month to move out, and we ended up signing the lease on this place now that I'm staying at, the same month that we signed the last month's lease on the old place. So I've had a month to move. I've been trying to get my room as fucking perfect as I've wanted to, and I pretty much succeeded. The only thing I haven't really gotten is how I'm gonna do videos, because this setup is shit. The lighting is fucking terrible. Even tapping on my phone to focus isn't gonna work because I did that multiple times, and I still have a reflection on my face. And I'm currently sitting on the floor, which I don't really mind, but I'd like that to change. But yeah, so this will definitely change. Hopefully I'll find something before the next video. But I just kind of wanted to bust the video out so I could get back into the mood of making videos again, since I've been gone for so long. And for this video, I just have a very small collection update, 4 CDs and 1 vinyl that I picked up. Obviously with moving, I haven't really been buying a whole lot of shit, although I've gone to a lot of concerts. So that's pretty much where my money's been going to. Instead of buying CDs and vinyl, I've been buying concert tickets and shirts. But actually all the CDs I got at concerts. The vinyl I didn't. So let's start off with the CDs. This first one we got here. Hopefully there's not too much glare. Try to make it so it's not. This is Falling in Reverse with Dying Is Your Latest Fashion. The Drug in Me Is You. I was thinking of Escape the Fate's first record. Put out on Epitaph Records in 2011. This is their debut record. This is Ronnie Radke's, at the time that this came out, this was Ronnie Radke's new band. They've been making music for 7 years, so it's obviously not his new band anymore. They are well established, and I've seen them live twice now. Not too shabby live, but like I said, Ronnie Radke, formerly of Escape the Fate, which is why I got Escape the Fate's first record, Dying Is Your Latest Fashion, confused with the album title for Falling in Reverse's new record, first record. And being that it's the first record, there's a lot of tendencies that are of Escape the Fate's first couple records, even though he only performed on the first one. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he only performed on the Escape the Fate's first record. But yeah, it sounds a lot like early Escape the Fate, from first to last, the post-hardcore, metalcore scene from the mid-2000s. A lot of good, catchy guitar melodies, amazing guitar work. Ronnie Radke is an amazing vocalist. He has an incredibly unique voice. Clean singing anyway. Screaming, it's pretty generic, and I'm not going to change my opinion on that. His screaming is incredibly generic. But other than that, it's a fairly solid record. And if you do like any of that early to mid 2000s post-hardcore and hardcore metalcore, even some hardcore stuff too. If you like any of that, I'd highly recommend checking this out. Everything he did after this record, there's a lot of electronic elements and rapping and hip-hop type stuff. So you probably wouldn't like that as much, but if you do like that early to mid 2000s metalcore, definitely check this out. And I got that CD at the Vans Warped Tour, the final cross-country Warped Tour. And then on the same day after Warped Tour, I went and saw the Faceless' headlining tour. And they had a bunch of different supporting acts. The first band that played always depended on where they were at, but they brought along Discarnate and Lorna Shore for the entire tour. And so I got Lorna Shore's, I want to say, second record. It's called Flesh Coffin, put out on Outer Loop Records last year. And this is a band that, at the time this came out, I feel like was spicing up a generally dull genre. Despite the fact that Slaughter to Prevail and Oceano had put out new records that were killer in the deathcore genre. And then Carnifex was putting out Slow Death the year before. Deathcore in general has just kind of gone dull. And Lorna Shore did pretty much what Carnifex did with Slow Death, and then even a bit on Die Without Hope, their previous record. They added a blackened element to it, which definitely makes it so much better than it could have been. And there's been a lineup change with Lorna Shore. The show that I went to is actually the first show that Lorna Shore performed on the tour. They ended up missing a few days. They have the vocalist, Tom, I forget the dude's last name, but his first name is Tom. He ended up leaving the band, and he's now the vocalist of Chelsea Grin. And the songs that I've heard off of Chelsea Grin's new record are fucking amazing. So as sad as I am to see Tom leave from Lorna Shore, especially since when I saw Lorna Shore live last year on Summer Slaughter Tour, they put on such a killer show. And Tom was a fucking huge part of that performance. The way he is as a frontman was just fucking amazing. So it sucks that he's left the band, and while he can't be replaced as a person on stage, vocally, people can be replaced a lot easier, especially in like screaming. And I know I say that knowing that someone might drop a comment saying that some screamer from one band can't replace a screamer that was previously in the band. But the new vocalist for Lorna Shore is CJ McCreery, formerly of Signs of the Swarm. I don't know who replaced him in Signs of the Swarm. I've never been a huge fan of Signs of the Swarm. But he replaced them, and their first show on the tour was the Denver show that I was at, and he did fucking amazing. Fucking flawless performance. Can't say enough good things. I can't wait to hear what Lorna Shore does next with him. And then along with that, I picked up the Faceless's new record, And Becoming a Ghost. This has a slipcase. I don't know which one's the official album art. It's been teased with both. So I guess either or. Depends on what you want to say is the official artwork. This was put out on Sumerian Records. Came out in December of last year. And if I had listened to it enough when it first came out, I would have probably put it on my honorable mentions list. Because it came out in December, I don't think I would have put it on my top 10 list. Just because I wouldn't have listened to it enough. Same with Asking Alexandria's record. If you caught a few videos ago, I talked about that. But yeah, the Faceless went in a more progressive direction than they have on any of their previous stuff, including Autotheism. And I know for a lot of people that was a pretty progressive record. Even some of the stuff on Planetary Duality was generally pretty progressive. But a song like Black Star, which was the second single that was released, you could definitely tell the progressive tone for that song. And I believe this could be a concept record. The opening track, which is the title track, and then the 8th song, Ghost Reprise or Reprise, however you want to say that. Those are both spoken word with some orchestral elements added in the background. And yeah, I haven't paid enough attention to the lyrics to know if it is a concept record, but I feel like just based off of that, it might be. And then there's also a cover of Shake the Disease, which I believe was by Depeche Mode. That's a cover on the record. It's the 6th song, so if it is a concept record, they found a way to work that into the story. And it's overall is a pretty solid record. I don't think it was worth a 5-year wait. And then, of course, just like has happened in the past, every fucking person that was on this record, except for Michael Keane, has left the fucking band. I don't know who the drummer was. When I saw him headline, it was my 3rd time seeing them, and every single time I've seen them live, they've had a different drummer. So I know I could look in there and find who the drummer is, but I'm not going to. The guitarist was Jason. The other guitarist, aside from Michael Keane, was Jason McKinney of the Zenith Passage, and he didn't do as much work as I thought he did. He only wrote 2 guitar solos, And knowing the shit that Michael Keane has pulled in the past, I'm pretty sure that he's written more than that for this record and just didn't get credited for it. And then vocals. The first single, The Spiraling Void, which came out 2 years before the record fucking released, which is another complaint of mine. Why the fuck would you put that on the record? You know, especially if it's only 10 songs. But fucking whatever. What am I got to say about it? Derek Rydquist, who performed at least on Planetary Duality. I don't know about Akeldama, the first record. But he ended up doing The Spiraling Void and at least one other song. And then he ended up leaving the band because probably the same reason he left the band in the first place, however many years ago. And then he was replaced by Ken Sorceron, who is of Abigail Williams. And then he left the band, just like Justin McKinney and whoever the fuck was doing drums for him every single time I saw him live. So yeah, that was the lineup for the fucking record that unfortunately isn't together anymore. You know, fucking, I like the Zenith Passage. I would have wished that I could see Justin McKinney live with them again when they were headlining, but shit is what shit is. And then a huge change in music, not just for what I've been talking about, but for the band themselves. This is Paramore with After Laughter. This was their 5th record. Came out on Fueled by Ramen last year. And I can't even compare this record to anything they've released previously because it just sounds so different. And I know how the band got big in the past is off of pop punk stuff, you know, stuff. If you know Paramore, you've heard songs like Misery Business or That's What You Get or Ignorance. So like their first 3 records, All We Know Is Falling, Riot, Brand New Eyes. If you're a fan of that and you weren't a fan of their 4th record, the self-titled one, there's no fucking way you're going to be a fan of this record. Because as much as the song Ain't It Fun, I think that was the first single off their self-titled record. Ain't It Fun and their self-titled record pretty much as a whole, as much as that was different from the first 3 records that I mentioned, After Laughter is so much different from their self-titled record. You know, if you thought songs like Ain't It Fun or Still Into You were so much different than anything that was on their first 3 records, After Laughter is like a step in a complete opposite direction. Like I said, I can't compare this to anything they've done. I can't compare it to any band that I listen to just because it's so different. You know, when this first came out, the opening track, which was the first single they released, Hard Times, I listened to it. I thought it was okay, but I didn't really think much of it at the time. And then when they announced their most recent tour, which was the After Laughter Summer Tour, which is where I got this shirt at, and this, it's not going to fucking focus, but this artwork here was used for the tour poster. I bought tickets to it because Hayley Williams, who is the singer of Paramore, said that she thought about breaking up Paramore after the touring cycle of their self-titled record. So I wanted to make sure I saw them at least once, because now if they break up, I'll still be unhappy about it, but at least I'll have seen them live. So I bought tickets for it, and I started listening to this record more because I knew that they were going to play a lot of songs off of it, and it just really grew onto me. You know, it's so diverse from anything that they've ever done. It's so diverse from anything I've ever listened to. You know, it's very poppy with some elements of reggae, but there's not a huge emphasis on that. So if you are a reggae fan, don't go into this record expecting that. But yeah, all I can say is really listen to it because I can't compare it to anything. So I'm just really drawing out talking about it. And then the last album, the 1 LP for this record, is by a band called The Long Shot. And it's called Love Is For Losers. And this is still sealed because the corner, I don't know how well you can see it, but the corners and the spine are damaged. And since this came out on Warner Brothers Records, I'm going to send it back. Hopefully they'll be able to send me a copy that isn't damaged. Hopefully they'll be able to package the fucking thing right, because I'm pretty sure that was why this thing got damaged in the first place. But this record features Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, Jeff Matika, who is a touring guitarist and backup vocalist for Green Day, and David Field and Kevin Preston, I want to say, who are both from Prima Donna. Four of them make up this band, The Long Shot. And upon first listen of the title track, which was the first single they released for this, if you just listened to that, you would probably think it was a Green Day song, because I played it for my dad and he pretty much thought that. You know, he thought it was a Green Day song, along with Taxi Driver and Chasing a Ghost, which the title track and those two songs were all released at once as a deluxe single before the album came out. So when I played those songs, you know, it did sound a lot like Green Day. And if I didn't know any better, I would think that it was Green Day. The writing similarities on this record are so incredibly similar to Green Day. But it's different at the same time that Billy Joe, who wrote most of the record by himself, because aside from guitar and vocals, he's an incredible drummer, you know, and bassist too. He's pretty much the whole band, you know, so he was able to write a lot of stuff, and then he kind of brought the other three members into it. But yeah, it's similar enough to Green Day where if you were just a casual fan, you would think that The Long Shot was Green Day. But it's different enough where any hardcore fan, excuse me, or anyone who listens to Green Day semi-frequently, you would know that it's different. And obviously, Billy Joe himself, he didn't think these songs would be good enough for Green Day, so he just formed a different band. Which I know that might be off-putting to anyone who's a major Green Day fan that watches this video. But still, I'm entitled to my opinion, and that's what I firmly believe. There's also a cover song, the last song, Goodbye to Romance, originally done by Ozzy. He does a pretty good job of that. Obviously, nothing's going to top the original, but it's still pretty solid. You know, there's a lot of good songs on here, because this is a pretty solid record, aside from the inherent Green Day comparisons that there are. You know, the title track, the opening track, The Last Time, Kill Your Friends, Soul Surrender was pretty great, Turn Me Loose, and then Body Bag and one other fucking song, I can't remember which one. They ended up, Body Bag and the other song that I can't remember which one is, ended up on a soundtrack for a movie called Ordinary World, which Billy Joe Armstrong featured in. And so those songs, I guess he just wanted to release a version of those on a record, but we'd already heard those songs before. So it wasn't, I guess putting those on were kind of like filler tracks, really, because there was no real point in actually putting those songs on here other than that. But yeah, and then the fucking hype sticker, that thing fucking annoys me. If you wanted to pause it, you could have. If not, I'm gonna read it. 11 new songs from Billy Joe Armstrong. Love is for Losers finds him firmly in control, making his best album since American Idiot. I guess it shouldn't really piss me off, given that Billy Joe Armstrong is the most famous member of this band, and that was put on there to sell more records. But he's not the only member. Prima Donna is a fairly established band, and they make great music as well. And then the bottom part, which was, I think, NME is a magazine. They wrote that bottom part. I guess it's really opinion based too, because as far as I'm concerned, Green Day and Billy Joe Armstrong have put out a lot better records than this since American Idiot has come out. Green Day themselves have put out 5 records since American Idiot, and then all the members of Green Day were in a side project called the Foxborough Hot Tubs, which put out a pretty solid record as well. So, I mean, that's entirely opinion-based, like I said, but I don't think that's true. Green Day has put out a lot of good music since American Idiot. But, yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now about that, because I could go on for fucking hours. And that is going to conclude this video. Hopefully my rambling didn't get you too much. Hopefully, if you find any interest in any of these records, you'll listen to them. Hopefully you'll buy them, because they are good music as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I think my next video is going to be the Metalhead box, so stay tuned for that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully I can upload more regularly now since I'm done moving. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace.